Rise from your grave.
Hey Game Gravers, this is Columns for the Sega Genesis. This, believe it or not, is the very first Sega Genesis game I got as a kid. Look at this very silent title screen, Angels just playing with columns. Here it's going to show you how to play the game. This is just a simple puzzle game. I don't know if it's the original, but it's a match 3 game. So for those of you who are huge into Bejeweled or know people who are, you know, I'm sure a lot of that came from games like Columns. I don't know what else was out at the time, but there had to have been other ones that were doing the whole like match shapes, match colors thing. None come to mind at the moment, but then again, you know, I'm not the person to ask on that stuff, am I? Just kidding. But yeah, like I said, this was the very first game I got for my Sega Genesis because it came with my Genesis. And yeah, I had a lot of fun playing with it. There are some music tracks in it I really associate with this game. It really brings me back to the time when I used to play it quite a bit. So let's go back to the title screen here. This was another thing I really liked, was the ever-changing title screen. It bounces back between 2 or 3 different images, but you can play just normal arcade, which means that second player can come in at any time and play with you. Or if you go to the menu, the music. You can actually pick 1 or 2 players or play doubles, which is pretty strange. One of the only games I remember where you could play back and forth, you know, as if you were playing doubles tennis or something, and each take turns putting columns in. Kind of a different way to play the game, which is pretty cool. But we're going to take a look at the original game first, and just do some one player here. Yeah, we're going to start from the very beginning, no time trial, and we're going to do my favorite track here. And away we go. Dun, 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 dun. Love this music track that they put into this game because it really makes me feel like something important is going on. You're really thinking about your moveset. So there you go. You can move your pieces around a bit, put them into position. And I hate to say it, but this is pretty much the whole game here. Here we go, we can match 4. So, this game is a game I have not played for quite some time. And it's incredibly strange playing it right now, because it's literally the first game of this I have played probably since... Man, I don't even know if I can remember. When was the last time I actually hooked up my Genesis and played Columns? I could not tell you. I couldn't tell you. But man, does this song bring me back. Look at that. It's a little L. We'll put that there. Do a diagonal one. So what's interesting with playing this game, see, that was a weird shape that you can make there. Yeah, in playing this game, like I was saying, it really takes me back, like, to a time when I was a kid, and it's strange because most kids, like, don't get me wrong, I played Sonic the Hedgehog and all those action games when I was growing up too, but I always had a soft spot for games like this. Columns, for some reason, always held a very special place on my shelf of games. And I feel like going forward, besides this and Tetris, I was always trying to find other games that I felt stood up like these did. Tetris and Columns. I always considered them 2 like very good puzzle games, very fun. There was one on the DS that I played quite a bit, and I do not remember the name of it. I remember selling it at one point. I really should have held on to it, because now that I look back on it, I had a really good time with that game. Cannot remember the name of it, though. you're basically matching shapes on the DS, you know, like you're doing here. And I believe there was a Disney version of it, where you're connecting Disney faces or characters or something like that. Meteos, that's what it was. Now I remember. Oh, wrong spot. Meteos was a great game, and I feel like I wasn't doing any. I feel like at least in this day and age, I wasn't doing it any favors getting rid of. I really should have held on to it, because now that I look back on it, I was like, man, I played the absolute crap out of that game. I really liked it. So, you know, who knows? Maybe because I got rid of it, maybe it's at the time I didn't think of it very highly, but it's strange because I do. Did you see the T-cross I made there? That was cool. 5 gems. I go through these stages once in a while where I decide to get rid of a bunch. I should have went blue on that. I get rid of a bunch of the games that I have in my storage. I'm not sure why. It's almost like I just go through these phases where I say, you know, I'm done with gaming for a little while. I'm going to sell a bunch of this stuff. Then I always end up coming back to it like, why did I sell this stuff? Like, I kicked myself today. I sold all of my Dreamcast stuff at one point because I was saving money for something, who knows at this point. And I got rid of all of it. I bundled it all together, and I feel terrible because it sold for so cheap. Like, I think some guy got it for like 30 or 35 bucks. And it was my whole Dreamcast collection. It wasn't like I had any like super great games, but it did house another puzzle game that was a favorite of mine, which was Choo Choo Rocket, which I do plan on covering on here at some point because I love Choo Choo Rocket. Such a great game. But I just look back on that time and I'm like, why did I get rid of that? I did the same thing with a lot of my PS2 games. You know, I just out and out just got rid of them. It was just like, I'm done with these. Sell them. I really should have held on to them. But I've been struggling with this as I get older, like back and forth. Like, do I hold on to this stuff? Does it really matter? Everything's digital anyway. Who cares type of thing. But it's that whole thing of like, you know, opening up that storage box that you got with all your stuff and pulling out the cases and checking them out and look at them. It's always fun to do that once in a while, but I mean, I guess for some of us, I'm not the biggest collector. I kind of like to get games I'm actually going to play. So, you know, when it comes right down to it, it's like, why am I holding on to all this stuff? I guess that's what I think at certain times. But yeah, let's see. It all started with Funko Land. Originally got rid of a lot of my NES games to get Sega Genesis games because that was my current new console. Yeah, I bought a Dreamcast aftermarket because I didn't get one while it was popular. Didn't have the funds at that point, but once I got a little bit of disposable income, I was like, I'm going to buy my own Dreamcast. And I had a bunch of cool stuff with it. You know, I had like the fishing reel and a bunch of VMUs and everything. I just sold everything for a terrible price. Never ended up getting one back. And I'm afraid to get one now because of everybody doing emulation on them and the disc laser, you know, not working great on those. So, haven't gotten one of those back, but I would never get rid of my GameCube as it's one of my favorite past consoles. But I did get rid of a shitload of games that I had for it, and I again, kick myself for that. Should have never done it. I have since gotten back a lot of those games that I got rid of in the first place. Things are starting to get a little faster now. But it's just not the same, you know? It's like, oh, this isn't my original copy, this is some bastardized copy that someone else owned. I really don't think of it that way. I really don't care. I'm sure people do care about those kind of things, though. But I really want to get those GameCube games back, because that was one of my favorite consoles. Yeah, what else happened? Yeah, I got rid of all my PS2 games. PS2 stuff I have not bothered to get back, because I kept a few of the ones that I really liked. But I tell you what, if I hook up my GameCube and play some Mario on that, I feel like it holds up, but when I hook up a PS2 and play games in the PS2, I just feel like it doesn't hold up as well as when I'm playing my GameCube. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if I can articulate what it is that I don't like about it. But it's like partly the controller. Once you get into a game, it's totally fine for me. But like the way it loads up, and I don't know, it just feels really archaic and just like something turns me off about it. I can't quite put my finger on it. So, yeah, the PS2 collection that I have, the very small one I have, is probably going to stay that way. Okay, we're matching. But yes, anyway, to my point, there have been a few times where I've just gotten rid of games that I really should have just held on to, and, you know, for one reason or another, you know, we all need to make a little money if we need it for certain things, or if we feel like our, you know, we're done with a hobby for a little while. Like, there have been times in my life where I've just decided, like, I'm done gaming for a little while. Like, back when the Nintendo 64 was a big console, I played the absolute crap out of Mario 64 and Mario Kart and stuff like that. But once I got older, around this time, I remember boxing it up and just putting it up on my shelf, and I don't think I touched it for like a good year or so. Like, I just didn't game at all. And that was really strange, because nowadays I always try to find a little bit of time to game, even if I don't get as much as I'd like. But yeah, it was, now that I look back on it, it was really weird, because I don't feel like there was ever another time where I just, like, flat out stopped. And it's funny, because there are times in my life where I'm like, man, maybe I should have really kept off of it. Just because I absolutely love playing games, but man, is it a time suck sometimes. It's like, it definitely helps turn my brain off when I need a break from work or whatever the issue is that's going on in my life. It's great to sit down for like an hour or two and just, like, you know, lose yourself in a game. It's not the same with watching a movie. I love movies as well, but it doesn't have the same effect. But when you're playing Columns like I'm doing now, this is definitely like a great poster child game for a game that you can just lose yourself in for a little while. And a lot of people are not as into puzzle games unless you're playing like casual games like Bejeweled, or I know on the iPhone my girlfriend absolutely loves to play the free fall games like Frozen Free Fall, and that's a type of Bejeweled type of game, you know. But yeah, a lot of people aren't going back to these more, I don't know if I want to call them refined or whatever type of games from yore that were just strictly like, listen, you like Tetris, this is another Tetris type game, jam on it, enjoy. More people are into the casual thing, and they want to play Candy Crush, and they want to see other people's scores mixed with theirs. So one of the things I like most about Columns is what happened just there. Sometimes, and you'll see it here coming up soon, is that when you get these combos, where you create one ricochet effect and then a million other things happen as it keeps cascading down, that is such a great feeling. Oh, shit. Speed is starting to catch me off guard a bit here. So you can actually play a very long game of this if you start at novice like I did. If you start at medium or hard, your game is probably going to go by a bit quicker. But you start off at a certain point boost. So the game does give you a head start, which I always thought was pretty inventive for the time. If you are tired of starting off at the slower, you know, methodical, easy selection at the beginning, the easy mode at the beginning, you could just jump right to a harder mode and instantly begin with a harder mode and a faster mode. You're like, give me the speed, that's what I want. And I always thought that was very inventive and very forward-thinking of them to do. But for me personally, whenever I started a game of Columns, I always wanted to start from the beginning, and I always wanted to play a long game of it. It's just really satisfying to sit here in this long of a game. How long has it been now? About 15 minutes or so. And just enjoy. Because before you know it, things are going to start getting stressful. I kind of just want to enjoy matching things. I almost feel like I would have been satisfied back then with a mode that was, you know, a casual or endless mode that was like always set on easy, so that way you can just go and go and go and go forever. There you go, look at that, 3 in a row. I remember getting those younger, or when I was younger, and they just kept going and going and going. You're like, go, 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 keep cascading, go. Great feeling. So, I'm really curious if you end up watching this video... Oh, geez, that was not a good match. There we go. That's good. That's good. Really curious to see how people feel about this game years removed from it. Do other people consider this a classic? It's one game I never hear anybody talk about. When people talk about classics, everyone always talks about, you know, Mario and Sonic and all of that stuff, Contra, you know, a lot of action games, and Tetris, of course. People talk about Tetris, but when it comes to games like Columns, I never hear anybody even speak about it. And I've always thought that was strange because I guess, you know, I probably never would have played this game if it wasn't for it coming packed in with my Sega Genesis at the time. But there had to be other people who were like big puzzle fans of Tetris, who grabbed this and thought it was, you know, just absolutely great. It would be cool to hear from those people to see what their thoughts were on it back then. Because for me, just even as a kid, I thought it was great. There had to be other people. They were doing pretty good this game. I thought it was going to be super rusty coming back to it, but it's almost like that wasn't very good. It's almost like I haven't skipped a beat in my awfulness, maybe. I should be matching a lot of this stuff. That's a match. It's a double match, triple match. Cascade, cascade. There you go. Oh, not there. Not there. See, this is starting to become a little bit of a guessing game for me because stuff is coming down so quickly. Oh, too many spots. I spoke too soon about not being rusty. Still got some rust that I'm working out. There we go. There's one. There's two. There's a match. I thought that was going to be another one, but no. Okay. So this is the stressful part of the game that either you're going to love or hate. Because you really got to look at what's coming next and prepare for that. That can be tough. Now, I know this game was released on a bunch of other consoles as well, and I believe it was an arcade game at one point, too. I think in some areas of the internet you can actually play this for free in a browser. So if you're interested in checking this out, there are definitely ways of going to play it without having to hook up your old Sega. Though it is fun using that old controller and pushing, you know, all these gems and everything around. Nothing quite like it. We are level 22. We are still moving. I feel like that diagonal match saves me a lot of the time. Sometimes I'll match something up and go, oh, that wasn't a match, and then it's like, oh, there it is, diagonal. Wasn't expecting that. That was not good. There we go. Oh, bad match. Crapola. Okay, I think we're getting pretty close to the end here. things are looking kind of drab for me here. Oh god, why did I switch that? No, oh, that was bad. Oh, I'm done. Oh, I'm still in it. Cascade, keep going. Oh. Go right there, cool. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Those cascades. I love that. It's one of my favorite things about the game. Long T. Look at that. Just when we thought we were out of this game, we're still moving. We're still moving along here. I wonder when this game was an arcade puzzle game. I really wonder how much time people had to wait to play the game. There must have been people like waiting behind the last person to play like for a while. Because right now we're going on almost a 20-minute game. So this whole time someone has been waiting behind someone else to play a game of this. That is if it was popular. Oh, go back. There we go. Do 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 do. Yeah, the other thing I was mentioning about the doubles game before I started playing this is, you know, it being one of the only, I feel, arcade games or video games that does like a double thing where you're passing back and forth playing the same board or the same character. Is pretty cool. If you're looking for a game to play with a friend, or even to play with your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever the situation might be, trying to get someone into video games and you guys want to work together on something. I know that when it comes to games with my girlfriend, we always do better when we play stuff co-op, so that way if we lose together, and it's not that whole like, you suck, you lost, then, you know, someone's mad for the rest of the night or whatever's going on. But I feel like it's a great mode for you to load up and try, especially if you're into older retro games. And since it's match 3, everybody's familiar with this concept nowadays. It's a very normal, easy to grasp concept. And like I said, when you lose, you know, no one's mad because you guys lost together. Don't even worry about it. I guess if you really wanted to, though, you could always play doubles with the same controller and just toss it back and forth. I'd like to see some of the fights that come from that. Okay, so right now I'm a little torn between, like, you know, me going and going and going here to see how far I can go just on this one credit versus starting another round with the flash columns, just so I can show that off for you before I end the video. Because we're a little over 20 minutes for this one game here, and you know, how much columns can you really watch, I guess, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I am just going to place. I'm not going to hit the button anymore. I'm just going to move things around, and we will get back to the beginning of the game and show off the other mode there. See, look at that. Even when I'm not matching them together, I'm still cascading. Look at that. I swear I'm not hitting any buttons. But I'm still a matching fool. Another thing about columns that I had mentioned earlier, oops, I hit the button on that one, accident, is the music. This is my favorite track from the game here. I always select this one, or at least it's selected by default, so I just leave it, I guess I would say. pretty great. And then it starts speeding up once the game gets faster. It's just all around like a great track. I think it really sums up like the feeling playing Columns. Great track. Man, it has been a few levels in a while since I've stopped moving pieces. Or quit hitting the button to jumble pieces, I guess we'll say. Oh, we're getting close now. Can't even move them over quick enough. Okay, we're done. This is it. Prepare for the rapture. See, look, the only way I can actually move it to the other side is it has to land first. There's that one. Just keep getting them. What can I do? Level 34. There it is, game over. So that is one complete game of Columns from the very beginning. Let's see here, the enter your name music, love it. Oh, then the sad music. So there you go. There's that. If you do arcade, I believe, yeah, arcade was just. Well, we'll just show it off real quick. So as you can see from here, you started off so that way if you're playing alone, a friend can join you at any time. So we're just gonna end this one real quick just to give you an idea of what's there. And what's cool is, oh yeah, very good. Yeah, nice rank. Let's see, is there a way for me to go back? Yeah, we leave it here for a second. At the game over screen, it should go back. There we go, yep, I do remember that. So that's arcade, that's all there is to that. You can just play with a friend over and over and over and over for as long as you'd like. And we will go to the menu here. We're going to do Flash Columns, one player. And we will switch the music up to Lathesis, or do we want Atropos? Atropos? Who knows? We'll change it up to that. Ba, 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 da. So this is kind of like a graduation song here. So I think the point of this is we are trying to get to the column that's flashing at the bottom. So we need to match greens. Here we go. Boom, you've done it. So this is kind of a challenge mode, I suppose. But I thought that there was more difficult versions of that. I guess we'll find out in a second here. Is that really all there is to that? Flash columns, one player. Let's do this again. Oh, I see. So from here you pick the height. So let's do one more flash columns. We'll pick a height of 6 and we'll do the last background music piece here. So as you can see, the columns start a little further up. Dun, 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 dun. So if you're just looking for kind of a time attack type of thing, you also get that with this, which is pretty cool. It's just when you see something like that, I wish Columns had a little bit, like, I wish I had a challenge mode where it was like, you know, some of those puzzle games, they're like, hey, solve this puzzle and get that blue gem in 5 moves. And, you know, they give you whatever it is you need to do it in 5 moves. But hey, it's a great little arcade puzzle game, regardless of that. I believe Columns does actually have like a couple sequels too. There we go. I can honestly say I have not played any of the sequels. Maybe that is a video for another time though. But I cannot speak as to the quality of those. But I did play a lot of this, and I like it, and I still like it. That's saying a lot. I hate when you revisit a game from your past, and I was like, oh man, I should have left that back there. I should not have been playing that. Okay, what do we need here? We need... Oh, we're almost there. Just need one yellow. There it is. Boom! Got it. You've done it! So there it is, everybody. That is Collins for the Sega Genesis. I completely recommend you check this game out, whether it's free in a browser on some website or whatever it is. It's a great puzzle game. Still holds up. I still like it quite a bit. And yeah, I will see you all next time on the Game Grave.